My Lords, we have earlier in committee had a debate on the value of open access, and I'm not proposing to repeat that, but I will, now that the noble Lord has drawn my attention to the biblical text, Getting Britain Moving, which I understand is now the government's plan for the railways in the country, the Williams Review having been set to one side, draw attention to what that document has to say about open access. It too is full of praise. It says that open access has a proven track record in driving competition in this context, at least when the Labour Party was thinking about it before the election, was seen as an attractive thing, driving competition and better passenger outcomes in countries whose services are run predominantly by public operators. We will have a service run predominantly by public operators, and the implication here is that open access has a proven track record in driving competition, better passenger services, so it must be a very good thing. That isn't the impression I get from the debate so far. I have the impression that there is a degree of resistance on the part of the government to open access. And indeed, there is a qualification, even in this document, on that. It has to add value and capacity to the rail network. Who has to be persuaded that it adds value to the rail network? And here the document says something which rather confuses me. It says that the ORR will continue to make approval decisions on open access applications. My understanding of Great British Railways was that Great British Railways was going to make decisions about who could run passenger rail services on the network, and not the Office for Rail and Road. So clarity from the Minister on what the intention is in that regard would be very helpful. But insofar as it is the Great British Railways, we do run into the problem that, of course, allowing this to happen will result in competition. And the whole purpose of Great British Railways is to, like Lord Ashfield, whom I referred to earlier, is to eliminate what it would regard as wasteful competition. So this contradiction that lies at the heart of the proposition causes me considerable concern. At the root of it is a rather technical question concerning what is referred to as abstraction. The assumption on the part of those who run the railways, and this has been true of the Department for Transport as well, it's not something new, but I have every reason to think it will continue, is that if somebody provides a railway service in competition with the government, then it is abstracting fares income that otherwise would accrue to the government. So there is a cost to the government, or a cost to Great British Railways, depending on where we are in this process. There is a cost to them in allowing open access to operate. Now, this, of course, is completely contrary to everything one knows about competition. It's contrary to the experience in other countries. What's been seen is that open access has actually allowed fares to come down 28%, the European Union claims, in the best cases that they've examined in their case studies. I think I referred to that, I think it was at second reading, it may have been on Monday. I certainly made reference to that report. And 28% reduction in fares, better quality services, and driving up demand. Overall, a win for everybody, though not necessarily in all cases a win for the state operator. But if the state operator is to make the decision, and this is why it's so important to know whether it's going to be Great British Railways or the ORR, if the state operator is to make the decision, the argument from abstraction is always going to be an argument that points the dial towards no rather than yes. And so the amount of open access to be allowed is likely to be very limited, despite passenger benefits in terms of fares and service and frequency that might accrue from it. So the purpose of these amendments, as I say, is not simply to sing the praises of open access. I think we've done that in a previous amendment, but to ask very seriously how it is that this assessment is going to be made, what warmth and encouragement are going to be extended to operators who wish to offer competing and supplementary services, or whether the offer of open access is going to be made in effect a nullity by an excessively tight application of the principles of abstraction.
Proposed, clause 2.